First and foremost, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honor to the Elder Great Millstone, and salutation to all Yakim on the highways and byways begging to the marriage. You know, one of the scriptures, it speaks about Jacob and Esau. One nation shall be stronger than the other, you know. Talking about Jacob will be stronger than Esau because, right now, not only is, food running low, well, not that low in America, but people losing their jobs, people can't go outside. Now the suicidal rate is through the roof now. Someone just played this video. You can expect who's doing this, who's jumping off these buildings and whatever. Esau.
A new study is warning that the next health crisis, triggered by COVID-19, may actually be a wave of suicides. The study warns that the isolation and the anxiety from the lockdown may be responsible for as many as 75,000 drug overdoses and suicides over the next decade. So we're joined now by Dr. Bob Lahita. Dr. Bob, you are in New Jersey, and I want to talk a little bit about this study because that number's pretty overwhelming.
Esau is a weak man. Jake been locked up in prison for decades, right? 20, 30 years without a trial, isolated, right? Well, here you have it. Esau can't handle it. Esau does drug overdoses and kill themselves even they can't even go outside, And but the worst thing about it, Esau's weak. Also weak because in prisons that you don't have nothing. There's no food there, no good food. There's no women. And Esau, and lockdown in America that's going on, you still have access to most of these things. So why are you killing yourselves when Jake been locked up in prison for like 50 to 60 years? You don't see them they don't talk about these suicide rates in these prisons. Could Jake still be alive? Jake, they don't kill themselves when they're in these prisons. Jake ain't like that. Esau's the only people who dish you out isolation, but when it's thrown at him, he can't handle it. A bunch of weak people,
It's based on 3 assumptions. Can you just talk a little bit more about these assumptions and what they're calling deaths of despair numbers?
Yeah, these deaths of despair numbers are very unsettling, and these assumptions are that based on previous economic downturns, that is the Great Recession of 2008 and the Great Depression, that we're going to have a number of suicides, that overdoses with regard to drugs and also alcohol abuse is going to increase significantly. And the graphs from this particular study are really startling. This morning I got numbers where our unemployment rate is now 14.7%. Basically 20.5 million jobs have been lost just in April. So we're looking at the 3 things: unemployment, isolation, and of course the uncertainty. We don't have a vaccine.
Esau had no faith, This is why Esau panics, Esau doesn't believe in a God, Every nation has a faith, It's talking about uncertainty. But if you have a higher power, if you had Yahweh, but Esau doesn't believe in the Lord, So they rely on physical things that they can see and touch, which is vaccines. And there's no vaccine yet, so they're panicking like this is the end. This is the be-all, end-all. Over a virus. There's so many viruses that came and gone, So it's like, even if it's a real thing, it's not gonna destroy the entire world, The Lord, the scriptures talk about the Lord's merciful, so He's not gonna wipe everybody out with a virus, The only one that's getting wiped off the earth is Esau in 1,000 years.
We have a disease that is attacking all of us potentially. We simply don't know what's going to happen from day to day. So
Esau doesn't know what's gonna happen. That's Esau. He doesn't have faith. He doesn't, cause the Jake around the neighborhood, they're not worried. Esau's worried. Esau don't know what's gonna happen day to day. These are Edomites scared. All I can see over in there is Edomites panicking.
Economic recovery, unemployment, and geography are all of the variables that figure into these large numbers of deaths. And it varies from various parts of the country, but it also varies for socioeconomic groups. As you know, this disease, COVID-19, adversely affects people from lower socioeconomic areas, people of color, for example. The American Indian population is the largest group that is adversely affected, and socioeconomic issues are big in our society, and the number of deaths are greatest among those populations. And also, I might add that men are adversely affected more than women. And presumptively, that's because they are oftentimes the breadwinners, whereas the mother stays home to take care of the family. When a man is out of work and can't supply his family with food and even sometimes shelter, it results in massive depression. And so
Esau can't tell his woman and kid that everything's gonna be all right. Esau panics along with his children and his wife. Esau can't. Esau is panicking with Margaret and Dylan. Esau can't tell. He doesn't have faith. He's only on things he can see. Esau is all about carnality. Everything that's physical, anything that he can see or touch. You know, because he doesn't believe there's a higher spiritual power. That's his problem. The Lord didn't give him that. Going back to Cain, he didn't respect the Lord. And Esau, and coming back in the reincarnation as Esau, he still didn't respect the Lord because he sold his birthright, the blessing that the Lord gave him. Ultimately it was the Lord that he didn't want him to have anyways. But
our mental health issues are substantial, and I think the numbers go from 25,000 to 150,000, and the mean that you have on the screen is 75,000 deaths of despair. So that's a real problem going forward.
I'm gonna get this article. Alright, this is May 4th, 3 months into the coronavirus pandemic. The country is on the verge of another health crisis, with daily doses of death, isolation, and fear, generating widespread psychological trauma. Federal agencies and experts warn that a historical wave of mental health problems is approaching: depression, substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, PTSD, and suicide. Just as the initial outbreak of the novel coronavirus caught hospitals unprepared, the United States mental health system, vastly underfunded, fragmented, and difficult to access before the pandemic, is even less prepared to handle this coming surge. Esau is going to start jumping off roofs soon. That's what is keeping me up at night. Susan Borgia, who leads the Traumatic Stress Research Program of the National Institute of Mental Health. I worry about the people the system just won't absorb or won't reach. I worry about the suffering that's going to go untreated on such a large scale. Data shows depression and anxiety already rolling the nation. Nearly half of the Americans report the coronavirus crisis is harming their mental health, according to a Kaiser Family Foundation poll. A federal emergency hotline for people in emotional distress registered more than 1,000% increase in April compared with the same time last year. Last month, roughly 20,000 people texted that hotline, run by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. Online therapy company Talkspace reported a 65% jump in clients since mid-February. Text messages and transcribed therapy sessions collected anonymously by the company showed coronavirus-related anxiety dominating patients' concerns. So, we'll go down if there's a... Hoping they'll give you numbers. Alright. Now I'm going to read it from here. When diseases strike, experts say they cast a shadow pandemic of psychological and societal injury. The shadow often trails the disease by weeks, months, even years, and it receives a scant attention compared with the disease, even though it too wreaks carnage, devastates families, harms, and kills. Mental health experts are especially worried about the ongoing economic devastation. Research has established a strong link between economic upheaval and suicide and substance use. So, talking about the economy, when the economy is low, the suicide and substance use it rises. Basically, a study of Great Recession, like in 2007, 2008. I heard the economy collapsed back then, a couple of years back, and I wonder who are committing suicide when the economy is going down. That's Esau, because Esau's on top. He can't see himself falling. Lose a couple of $100,000. He probably has like 500 million still in the bank. But when he loses that 500,000, what does he do? Takes takes a rifle and pisses to his chin and blows his brains out. A study of Great Recession that began in the late 2007 found that for every percentage point increase in the unemployment rate, there was about 1.6% increase in the suicide rate. That's Esau. Esau losing these jobs. That's Esau. Esau won't even hire Jake. He won't even hire Jake for Walmart. I be hearing stories about Jake be wanting to uh apply for some job. They won't answer to them. That's not Jake, because Jake is not on top, and Jake, even if he did lose a job, I don't think he would give a damn anyways. Probably talk shit on social media, but that'll be about it. Esau, he takes it to a whole new level. He just can't see himself like at the bottom. That's that pride. He just thinks he's gonna be on top, and if he loses that, he can't live with it. He can't handle adversity. Like Jake. We've been handling adversity since forever. Slums. The ghetto, the projects. There's roaches in them, infested. Uh, some Jake got nowhere to lay their head. I remember this one time. I remember when I camped. There's this old guy that walks by sometimes. He be saying, I forgot, I'm on the top. Started now I'm here. I don't know. There's a song by Drake that he sings. You know, even when even when Jake is at their lowest, they still have they still able to put a smile on their face through it all. And that's the spirit the Lord gave us. You know, using such estimations, the Texas nonprofit Meadows Mental Health Policy Institute created models that suggest if unemployment amid the coronavirus pandemic ends up rising 5% points to a level similar to the Great Recession, an additional 4,000 people could die of suicide and an additional 4,800 from drug overdoses. That's Esau, man. Esau is the only one who's panicking because he get the most jobs anyway. Before anybody else gets a job from any other, Esau gets them. I remember years back there was this Edomite. He said that he was hired from McDonald's, but he didn't. They said that he didn't need to sign no papers. He was just hired for the job, you know. But if unemployment rises by 20 percentage points to levels recorded during the 1930s Great Depression, suicides could increase by 18,000. Overdose deaths by more than 22,000, according to Meadows. Esau's a, Esau. This is what Esau does. You're not gonna do that in the kingdom. When the kingdom's here, and the elect see you trying to kill yourself, they're gonna turn back time before you can, you're gonna be walking backwards before you even jumped off the cliff. I don't know, the elect may get some amazing powers, Lord's will be found in that number, but yeah, Esau's not gonna be doing that in the kingdom. Esau ain't gonna be jumping off roofs, you know. Probably gonna teleport him right back in his house where he came from. These projections are not intended to question the necessity of virus mitigation. Mitigation efforts, caution authors of the Meadow report, rather to inform health system planning. Um, but I'm gonna go down to here. Could the numbers go up? Yes, but it isn't inevitable. We know suicide is preventable," said Christine Montour, Chief Medical Officer for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Research has shown interventions make a marked difference, such as limited access to guns and lethal drugs, screening patients for suicide thoughts, treating underlying mental conditions, and ensuring access to therapy and crisis lines to call and text. That's why we need to act now, Mountier said. On Wednesday, a coalition representing more than 250 mental health groups announced it was coveting a national response to the problem of pandemic suicide, an effort that will include at least one federal agency, the National Institute for Mental Health. But Esau can't handle adversity. This is what he does. He jumps off roofs and shoots guns. Esau's probably the top people in this nation that owns guns, and because he's always the one at the ranges. All these shooting movies with Esau, American Sniper, Jason Bourne. It's Esau buying up all these guns. They said by drugs and guns, people are committing suicide. You know, they said the more unemployment that's happening, the more suicide rates. That's good for Esau. I'm tired of, like Esau's a devil anyways. That's Edomites to deal with. But I want to get this. Because, Revelation 18:2, he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and become the habitation of devils, and hold every foul spirit in a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So it's telling you right here that every foul spirit, this is coming, as soon as America destroyed, every evil spirit, foul spirit in a cage of unclean and hateful bird, vultures, owls, be here, you know, we have a bunch of cactus plants, it'd be like a desert, it's gonna be wasted away. But America's falling, it is falling. Suicide rates, jobs, people are not gonna be able to pay their bills. People are not paying their bills, like in the video I made yesterday. People are not listening to the government, going outside. Esau's arguing with the state officials about they want their jobs. You know, So America's falling not only by all it is, by division. If Satan divided against itself, how could his house stand? But I'm gonna get this before I get into that. Jeremiah 46:10. For this day of the Lord of Yahweh of hosts, a day of vengeance, that he may avenge him of his adversaries. And the sword shall devour, and it shall satiate and make drunk with their blood. For the Lord of power of hosts has a sacrifice in the north country by the river Euphrates. Let me get this divided. Into Esau's house. Mark 3:25. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. Oh, yeah. Donald Trump. Donald Trump orders governors to allow places of worship to open. So Esau, this is Donald. The governors of certain states want the churches to close. Donald Trump wants to open them. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna read what. Let me just see the video.
In neighborhoods across the country, you'll see gratitude. Communities showing support.
Today I'm identifying houses of worship, churches, synagogue, and mosques as essential places that provide essential services. Some governors have deemed liquor stores and abortion clinics as essential, but have left out churches and other houses of worship. It's not right. So I'm correcting this injustice and calling houses of worship essential. I call upon governors to allow our churches and places of worship to open right now. If there's any question, they're going to have to call me, but they're not going to be successful in that call. These are places that hold our society together and keep our people united. The people are demanding to go to church and synagogue, go to their mosque. Many millions of Americans embrace worship as an essential part of life. The ministers, pastors, rabbis, imams, and other faith leaders will make sure that their congregations are safe as they gather and pray. I know them well. They love their congregations. They love their people. They don't want anything bad to happen to them or to anybody else. The governors need to do the right thing and allow these very important, essential places of faith to open right now.
So you got so basically Donald Trump is arguing with the governors to open certain places, these churches, and the governors don't want to do it, and Esau, if they're not agreeing, if they're not on one agreement, then how is this one house, One side is saying don't do this, one side said let's do this, so, let me just get into it. Donald Trump has declared churches, mosques, and synagogues essential services and threatened to override governors who refuse to reopen them this weekend, a power he does not possess. Some governors have deemed liquor stores and abortion clinics as essential, but have left out. Yeah, that's wicked already. You want people to be all drunk and stuff, already you have everything going down, You're killing your own people more because Esau's already depressed, so when he drinks, he's already doing some wild stuff. And abortion clinics, yeah, killing babies is essential. That's Esau is a devil. But these mosques and these churches aren't any different. They're just as wicked as these places. You might as well just open them up, but have left out churches and other houses of worship. The president told reporters at the White House on Friday it's not right, so I'm correcting this injustice and calling the houses of worship essential. Trump added the government needs to do the right thing and allow these very important essential places of faith to open right now for this weekend. If they don't do it, I will override the governors in America. We need more prayer, not less. After his 2-minute statement, the president left the briefing room podium without taking questions. His remarks showed confusion because the federal government does not have constitutional right to unalterably order individual states to reopen businesses, churches, or schools, but they did seem likely to play well with his support base. Trump won 4 and 5 Christian evangelical voters in 2016 presidential election. Earlier this week, the Centers for Disease Control published a 60-page for restaurants, schools, children care programs, mass transport, and other businesses about reopening, but omitted details about houses of worship and faith-based organizations. There has been friction between Trump and state governors during the coronavirus pandemic. Last month, the president claimed he had total authority over reopening plans, but then appeared to backpedal from that position. Now, at Friday briefing, the White House press secretary Kayleigh deflected questions about Trump's threat to override governors in class with reporters. Boy, it's interesting to be in a room that desperately wants to see these churches and houses of worship stay closed, she said sardonically. Jeff Mason of Reuters replied, Kayleigh, I object to that. I go to church. I'm dying to go back to church. The question that we're asking you and would like to ask the president, is it, and ask Dr. Birx, is it safe? So Esau, you go to scripture, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. You're supposed to be on one accord, Aren't you guys supposed to, Esau is doing what, Donald Trump doing whatever he wants, In this case, this house is the house of Satan, Luke 11:18. If Satan also be divided against himself, how shall his kingdom stand? You know, how can you, how can his house stand when the devil, Satan, find it? You got Donald Trump's the devil. The governors are devils. They're all the devils are fighting against the devils. You know, just like when Alexander the Great, his sons, the four generals, were fighting against. I think they were fighting against each other. I gotta look more into that. But I heard they messed. They're not. They didn't rule well. You know, those four generals. But same thing's happening now. That Esau rulership is crumbling. They don't know. They're not on the same page. Donald Trump wants to do something else. They don't want to. So it's like, and he doesn't. And they're saying he doesn't have the power to do that. But he's saying he does. So like he must be doing. He's gonna do something that's illegal, and they're gonna be fighting. You know, Esau. And Esau's through. This is the amazing time we're in because it's amazing because you see Esau fighting against Esau. I used to hear Edomites talk about how they don't like white women. They don't like their own women. They be saying they're annoying, and that shocks me because they're the same people. You know, But Esau divided. Put that Planned Parenthood nonsense, that feminist movement. He thought it was gonna poison our women, but it did. But now it's poisoning their women. And they don't want to listen to their man, so they're all arguing. There's TV shows about Edomite families arguing and calling each other bitches and stuff. You know, but yeah, this is it for Esau. You can't your house can't be on one of if your house is divided, how can it stand? That's Esau. But I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, double honor to El Great Millstone, and salutations to all y'all Kimahad and Bowers. Till next time, I say Shalom.